Hello, and welcome to Daniel's Basement Talk Show. Our special guest for today is Ralph.
Hey Daniel, it's a real pleasure to be here. You know, I've always wanted to be on the show. It's been on my bucket list. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's nice to know. All right. So let's get straight into some questions. Rapid fire. Simple questions. Try and answer as best as you can. So one of the first things I was thinking right away when I knew I had an interview with you is how did you feel when you were put into like a position to lead the boys on the island?
You know, I just felt a large burden of responsibility just fall right onto my shoulders, right? Like these guys, these boys' life, like young kids, it's in my hands immediately, right after we crash onto the island. You know, I was nervous and I never really had a real plan. You know, the only things I really thought of were the signal fire, building shelter, and hunting for food. Other than those three, I was just improvising from there.
And what are some of like the social pressures of being the leader of the island? How did you deal with some of them?
Well, you know what? Being a leader is great and all, but it comes with a lot of downfalls. Like, it's a lot harder than you'd imagine.
Right.
Considering you have to appease everybody, and that's impossible. Especially with young kids who have a variety of different needs, right? So, especially who I appointed this guy named Jack to lead the hunters to grab food. And then Jack, he turned against me and rallied his hunters against me to dethrone me. And they did dethrone me. Jack became the leader on the island. You know, I just made some mistakes I wish I could take back.
Alright, and with these newfound pressures, did you happen to lose hope throughout your course?
You know, I never fully lost hope. I always was hopeful, but you know, the first time I sort of lost hope was when my friend Piggy, my late friend Piggy, he told me that we may never go home. You know, at the time I didn't want to believe him. I was just thinking that my father would come rescue me.
Right.
You know, I was just delaying the inevitable.
You were basically like waiting for people to solve your problems.
Yeah,
for you.
I was scared.
Yeah,
I was scared.
So your friend Piggy, what are some things you took away from him? Some things you learned from him? Did he inspire you in any way?
You know what? I always think about Piggy. I always think about him. I always think of his wisdom, you know? Piggy was very smart for his age, and he always helped me out and frequently contributed meaningful information and opinions to the conversation, to any debate we had. Piggy didn't have it fair on the island. People often made fun of Piggy because of his appearance, his asthma, and he just took a stand this one time, I remember, and he just proved how strong he was. When he had the conch, everybody was just speaking, and they weren't letting him speak, regardless of the rules with the conch. And he just stood up and he shut everybody down. He was just like, respect me, please.
Right. And just out of curiosity, what exactly was the conch? What did it entail?
Well, the conch was a shell that we used, and initially under my leadership, what we did is when you had the conch, you could talk. It was just a fair way that everybody got their opinion without, being disturbed by anybody else. So everybody got an equal chance to speak their mind.
And his opinion was not being respected.
His opinion was not being respected
Right.
whatsoever.
Okay, and if you could, let's say, go back in time before this would happen, would you change anything about the way
You know,
it happened?
there really isn't anything that I could change, There's nothing I could do to stop it. There's a beast in everybody, right? There's evil, and there's simply nothing I could do to stop it. What happened to Jack, to Roger, to Piggy, even the kid at the fire, or Simon. There was just nothing I could do.
Right. And so, did you, like, if you had to say probably one of the most important lessons you learned being on the island, what would that be?
Unfortunately, I learned that there's evil that really exists in each and every person. And, how it comes out under certain circumstances, certain pressures, as I left the island, I broke down. Just knowing that the true evil that can lurk within a human, and how dark and violent we as a species can really be.
And that's really messed up stuff, especially for some kids to go through. Yeah. Come on. Okay, I'm just gonna cut. 'Cause. 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 do you keep in oh, Jesus. I think you're doing so good as well.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Do you ever keep in touch with any of the boys on the island?
You know, despite how most of them treated me, you know, I still keep in touch with Sam and Eric. You know, those boys remained loyal to me throughout the whole experience that we had on the island. And it's just, you know, sometimes I talk to them, we talk about what happened, and just the human mind, the human anatomy, you know.
And following up on that, would you ever consider reconnecting with someone who, let's say, did you wrong on the island, betrayed you, like Jack or Roger even?
No, I would never. You know?
Why?
I feel the problems and traumas they caused, you know, while I was on the island.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Roger was a killer. He killed Piggy. He didn't flinch. He laughed. He laughed about killing Piggy. You know, Jack's leadership turned all of us innocent boys into sadistic, violent savages, obsessed with drawing blood from any living creature.
Wow. That's really moving stuff. Well, speaking of hardships and let's say trauma they caused you, do you feel you inflicted any of that sort of thing upon someone else on the island?
You know, the first thing I think of when I think the worst things I did on the island was when we first got to the island, my good friend Piggy, he just said, don't tell people my name. You know, just because his physical stature, his asthma, his glasses, you know, the irony that his nickname was Piggy, he just felt he would get made fun of. And I didn't respect that. And what happened was he got made fun of, exactly like what he predicted it as.
And because people were making fun of you guys, you didn't actually get his real name, did you?
Never found out his real name. And, you know, he spent the last 2 months of his life being tortured by a bunch of kids on an island with
really
nowhere to run.
Yeah.
Nowhere to run.
Now, some of the boys who came back in police reports, they said that they believe there was a beast on the island. Was that true?
You know, no. The beast was a figment of our imagination. The beast, Simon said that the beast could be an evil in all of us. You know? It wasn't real. And some boys, they forced it upon us that it was real. But it was not real. Jack found a way to keep the idea of the beast in everybody's mind, and that they needed to appease the beast and feed it food, and that the beast was just some animal waiting to kill us all. But really, it was just a figment of our imagination, just something to threaten us, to scare us into doing what he asked.
And I think this is probably going to be one of the last questions I'm asking you is, when you were rescued, how did you react? How did you feel about that?
Well, you know what? It was a great yet harrowing experience. You know, It wasn't bittersweet because I could have very possibly died if, you know, our rescue came 2 days later. I could have been dead. But, you know, it was hard because I realized the true nature of human species and like what it is. You know, thankfully we have civilization, because if the world was like what the world was like for us on that island, I don't know what the world would be like. I really don't.
Wow. Well, Ralph, it was a pleasure speaking with you. I definitely learned a lot, took away a lot from this interview, and I just want to say, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I really respect what you did on that island, the way you handled yourself, the way you handled yourself was very admirable, very courageous, and I hope that your future ends up significantly better, and basically you get repaid for the times your stint on the island.
Thank you.
And, yeah, I wish nothing but the best to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Pleasure. So that was the end of Daniel's talk show. Suck my dick. Okay.